Hello everyone, this is Ed from Yesteryear Games, and I'm here to tell you about our game, BatBots. In this video, I'd like to tell you about how we've been designing and building our game, as well as the plans we have for the future of the project. BatBots started out as a project for a game development class. Our original intent was to create an arcade-style experience where players try to score enough points to earn a high score. We wanted to make a game that evoked a sense of nostalgia in our players, so to that end, we chose to make a light gun shooter simulator, kinda like Duck Hunt. That decision also helped make the gameplay engaging and accessible for all ages. We divided gameplay into rounds, with each round spawning a set number of bats to take out. To keep the game varied, we created a few different types of bats beside your run-of-the-mill robo-bats. Originally, these included bonus bats, which gave you more points, and unstable bats, which triggered chain reactions upon being stunned. As summer rolled around, we knew we wanted to expand the game and see what more we could do for our bats to bring them to the next level. The answer became clear to us very quickly. This game needed multiplayer. Stunning bats is fun to do alone, but we got the impression from playtesters that they wanted to compete and play together. With this in mind, we drafted a plan to add two new multiplayer game modes for the summer, competitive and cooperative. More importantly, we wanted multiplayer to be local. That way we can stay true to our inspirations and make the gameplay experience engaging in and out of the screen. In addition to that, we also wanted to polish the game in general. A lot of the quality of life features were not in the original prototype we made for the class. Music was notably absent, the settings were pretty bare bones, and there was a lot of untapped potential for customization features. The first order of business to get rolling with the new game modes was to add support for multiplayer. Since the original game was strictly single player, a lot of it needed to be refactored, from actually getting more than one player to join the match, to more under the hood stuff like how we were tracking scores. Unity's input system, on paper, should have made this whole process very easy, but it took some getting used to. There are some gotchas to be aware of that we didn't know about starting out. They came one after another too. We'd fix one thing only to have something else break. The first hurdle was getting more than one player to join. We made a join screen, but then when we transitioned to gameplay, controls would be all wonky. One controller would own all crosshairs, or pressing fire would cause it to stick. After we solved that, we wanted to add support for multiple types of controllers, mouse and keyboard, gamepads, and so on. This also caused a bunch of really weird issues. After we stamped those bugs out, we discovered that players could troll one another by closing the pause screen even when another player was the one that paused. Alright, so we fixed that. Then we had sensitivity issues to worry about, since different control types react differently to sensitivity. Alright, so we fixed that too. Then we had a problem where joining and firing were mapped to the same input, which led to all sorts of wonkiness on the actual join screen. It kinda felt never ending at times. As a side note, originally the game supported Joy-Cons to give it that light gun feel we were talking about. However, in the midst of all this, we had to drop support for them. Even before we started adding multiplayer, our setup for the Joy-Cons was extremely janky. It required players to register them by the Bluetooth settings on their computers, and they would desync constantly. On top of that, Unity's input system doesn't support Joy-Cons out of the box, so we would need to duct tape together solutions that would require heavy maintenance. We'll likely return to adding support for them in the future, but for now, we need to focus on making the game itself the best it can be. After all of this walking through cold stuff, we emerged on the other side with full support for up to 4 players at the same time. The ordeal proved worth it, as once we got our bats in a row, so to speak, the doors were wide open to start developing our shiny new game modes. That only covers the more nitty-gritty aspects of getting multiplayer up and running. We decided as a team to focus on designing competitive multiplayer first, as it seemed the most straightforward extension of the original prototype that we made. We just need to add another cursor, right? However, we still needed to design it in such a way that it was, well, fun. So of course we chose to add power-ups. The concept is pretty simple. We add a new type of bat that drops a power-up. Some power-ups give you better abilities, while others mess with the other players. Buffs and debuffs. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. We added 2 buffs to start with, double points and overcharge. Double points is pretty self-explanatory. Overcharge gives your shots a large area of effect, allowing you to take down more bats per shot. We also made 2 debuffs, Snail Pace and Confusion. Snail Pace makes everything move more slowly except the player who activated the debuff, giving them an edge over the others. Likewise, Confusion inverts controls for all players except the one who activates it, playing up the chaos of multiplayer. This system works well to keep things varied, but we are in the process of tweaking the game's balance to make sure no one power-up completely dominates the game. We've also added several settings that players can change to improve their experience. We know everyone's setup is different, we're still trying to refine our experience so that it suits most players out of the box. Right now, players can tweak the sensitivity of their cursor, the intensity of some of the game's post-processing effects, as well as the audio volume. Aside from that, we've been focusing a lot on the user experience. We're balancing how much we allow players to set up the game how they want it, without making it take too long to get to some gameplay. On top of that, we as players hate not knowing what buttons to press to make the game work, so we've put a lot of effort in informing players what the controls are at any given time. The next big milestone for us is to get the co-op mode in the game. This will take a lot of effort on our part, as it will require us to build a lot of systems the original prototype didn't have. We are hoping to get the mode out for testing in the next couple of weeks though. This brings me to the next point. Our game is out on itch.io for you to try out and give us feedback on how to improve and make it better. You can find the link to our game down in the description of this video. If you want to give us feedback, we have a form on that site you can fill, which we'd really appreciate if you did. Feedback helps us understand which parts of our game are working and which could stand to improve. That's the update for now. See you next time!